Did you know that an Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian? Alia might actually be a yandere. She's normally been nothing but a tsundere, but over time, something slowly started to change. It mainly all started back when Kuze joined the student council and decided to be Alia's running mate, as this was the moment where she realizes her feelings for him and her feelings become more serious. Ever since then, Kuze supported her through everything, and he slowly started to become someone Alia could rely on without a second thought, and this made him irreplaceable and special to her. Because of her feelings, she wanted to be as special to Kuze as he was to her, but things would happen around the time of the school festival that would change everything. As student council members were a part of the school festival committee alongside the former student council president and vice president, and also other school committees and clubs. Because of his connections from his time in the middle school student council, Kuze was friends with most of the people on the committee, while Alia didn't know anybody outside of the student council. Seeing him get along with so many people that weren't her caused her to feel jealous for the first time, and that jealousy slowly turned into possessiveness, which she realized. Luckily, that's as close to a yandere as she will get, which is a good thing, at least for most people.
Did you know these facts about vodka in Uma Musume? The first fact is shocking. Despite her tomboyish appearance, she is actually very neat and organized. Although she hangs bike posters in her room mostly to irritate Daiwa Scarlet, highlighting their rivalry both in the anime and in real life. Second, her story in the game includes a hidden bike reference. The Yamaha ZX750 in the game is a mashup of two real-life motorcycles, the Yamaha FZX750 and the Kawasaki ZX750. The Kawasaki fits her description better with its oversized tank and sleek streamlined body, tying into her rebellious image and her dream of buying a bike someday. Third, she has playful quirks tied to her name and personality. She practices sliding glasses over countertops like a bartender, referencing her name. She also saves her New Year's money to eventually buy a motorcycle. And in Gold Ship's Pakatu, she dances to One Guy Cinderella, a song from a game they did a collab with, and she shares the same voice actor as the idol who sang it. Did you know that in More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers, one of Akari's friends saved Akari and Jiro's entire relationship? Right after summer break ended, Jiro noticed that Akari was starting to act differently towards him, but he didn't know why. The reason was because Akari got rejected by Minami and realized she actually had feelings for Jiro, but she was unable to communicate any of that to Jiro. This lack of communication caused Jiro to act under the assumption that the two of them were still working towards switching partners. However, Akari was secretly trying to make Jiro want to stay as her partner, so she began acting closer with him. Unfortunately, this made them gain more points for the practical, getting them closer to switching partners. Seeing this, Akari started to become more distant, and Jiro started overthinking about all of Akari's actions and her motives, creating a stressful situation for the two. This would all change when Akari's friend, Natsumi, was paired up with Jiro for an after-school task. During their work time, Natsumi brought up how close Akari was acting with Jiro and asked what his thoughts about it were. Jiro replied by telling her he thought that she should save those kinds of things for the person she actually liked. That's when Natsumi cut Jiro off, as she now understood that Jiro had no clue about what happened between Akari and Minami, and he was clueless about Akari's feelings. That's when she dropped the bomb and told Jiro that Minami and Akari had a talk together, and it resulted in the two of them not getting involved with each other, changing Jiro's entire perspective on his relationship with Akari. What would you do if you were him? Did you know that in Mushoku Tensei, a major detail was cut from the anime, and it's what pushed Rudius to ask Roxy to be his second wife? In the light novels, when Alina Lise was trying to convince Rudius to take Roxy as his second wife, he was a lot more opposed to the idea than what was shown in the anime. He was so opposed to it that it forced Alina Lise to tell him the harsh truth of what might happen to Roxy if he didn't marry her. That being that Roxy might find a terrible man to take as her husband and go down a terrible path in life. Despite hearing that, Rudius was still opposed to the idea of taking a second wife. This caused Alina Lise to tell Rudius something she wasn't planning to bring up, but thought it was necessary in order to give both Roxy and Rudius the life they deserved together. Without waiting to hear another excuse from Rudius, Alina Lise told him that Roxy was pregnant with his child. As soon as he heard this, Rudius changed his mind and told Alina Lise that he would take Roxy Roxy as his second wife. However, when Rudius brought the topic up with Roxy, he found out that she wasn't actually pregnant and that Alina Lise lied to him to get them together. Who does Bond respect the most in the 7 Deadly Sins? There are several people that have been friends or allies of Bond throughout the story, but despite that, the person he respects the most isn't who you'd expect. The most obvious candidate would be Meliodas, as they've been great friends for years, and Bond even got severely depressed when there were rumors that he passed away. They're such good friends that Bond even spent centuries in purgatory searching for his emotions. However, there is someone he respects even more than Meliodas. Another person Bond respects a lot is Elaine, as she is his lover. His love for her is so strong that he did everything he could to bring her back to life, and even gave up his immortality for her. But even Elaine isn't the person he respects the most. The person he respects the most is actually someone he met a lot more recently than his other allies. When they first met, the person was actually annoyed with Bond, and they have been disgusted with some of his actions. Despite this, the two of them are great companions and are willing to support each other whenever one of them is in need. Bond respects this person so much that he even calls him master. The person Bond respects the most isn't even from any of the 5 main races, but is actually a creature from purgatory. That person is Hawk. Did you know that in Re:Zero, Subaru was able to defeat Orsted? After him and Rudius revealed to Orsted that they knew the Man God, and Subaru confirmed that Orsted had the magic item he needed. Orsted instantly unalived them. However, despite being in a new world, Subaru's return by death still worked, and he woke up before he would initially meet Rudius. To prevent them being unalived again, Subaru would recruit an Emperor of the North God style, Albert, to help them unalive Orsted. Subaru would then meet Rudius again, and this time they set out to battle Orsted. However, despite having Albert with them, they were unable to defeat Orsted, and he unalived them all. Subaru would go through several loops and try various different things, like getting dragons to attack him, attacking from different distances, and more, but nothing worked. After trying everything, Subaru decided to just ask Orsted nicely for it. They told Orsted it was a magic item Subaru's mom dropped in the Asura Kingdom, and there was a rumor around the Adventurers Guild that Orsted had it, and they would be extremely grateful to get it back. To their surprise, Orsted actually gave them the magic item, and Rudius would help Subaru use it to send him back to his world. Who is every person that can use silent spellcasting so far in Mushoku Tensei? Since Rudius arrived in his new world, he popularized silent spellcasting, and since then, there are only 4 people who are known to be able to silently spellcast. The first person is obviously Rudius, who is the first person to widely use silent spellcasting, and the person to make it known. Next is Orsted, who is able to use silent spellcasting, although it is unknown if he was able to use it before he saw Rudius use it, or if he was able to silently spellcast way before he knew of Rudius's existence. Either way, one of the two is the inventor of the technique. The other 2 people that know it are Sylphie, who was taught silent spellcasting by Rudius, and during their time apart from each other, she managed to take it a step further than what Rudius had taught her, as she figured out how to use silent spellcasting for both healing and detoxification spells, something that even Rudius can't do. And the final person that knows silent spellcasting was also taught by Rudius, and that's Julie. Did you know that in Mushoku Tensei, Rudius is actually able to cast Emperor-level spells? Typically, spells cast with an incantation would limit a spell to whatever level it normally is, as the caster would not be able to modify the spell without modifying the incantation. But because Rudius can cast spells silently, he is able to change the size and speed of the spell depending on how much mana he pours into each component of the spell. This can change the level of the spells he casts depending on how much mana he puts into the spell. He first found this out after his duel with Bodygotti, when Bodygotti reveals to him that only Emperor-level spells and above are able to do damage to him, because Rudius was able to blow the upper half of Bodygotti's body off with his spell. The spell he used had to be Emperor level or higher. The spell Rudius used was Stone Cannon, which is typically only an intermediate level spell. But after his encounter with Bodygotti, he began wondering how strong the spells he cast actually were, and if it was enough to call him an Emperor level mage. You know that in Charlotte, there's a side plot where you had to get a job for Ayumi's sake? Ayumi was doing her nighttime routine of looking at the stars, but complained that recently the focus of her telescope had been off. You proposed that they just buy a new one, but he instantly got scolded by Ayumi because they were barely able to live off the money he was bringing home from the student council as is, and they wouldn't be able to spend money on something extra, like a new telescope. You thought of the only way he could bring in more money, and that was to get a job, but it didn't go to plan. The way he got a job quickly was to get referred by his friends at the student council to the store, and he used his good looks to charm customers who came in, but things changed when he saw that Tamori, Takajo, and Yusarine all showed up at his work to both monitor and bother him, while Takajo was watching from afar. Tamori went right up to you and complained that all of the beef bento was out of stock and demanded more. When she couldn't get any, she stood her ground and made a scene, so you went to a different job expecting a different outcome as a security guard for one of Yusarine's concerts. But Takajo showed up being a fanboy and annoying him, and you was on edge afraid that Tamori would show up. He finally ended up picking up trash at a local park for money when he realized that it would take way too long to save up the money working, and that he could just take over someone's body and drop their wallet so he can pick it up later, but that didn't go to plan either. He followed through with his plan and took the wallet. As it turned out, Tamori had watched the whole thing, but Yu was lucky as his morals didn't allow him to take the wallet home, and he returned it, and it actually improved Tamori's opinions of him.